Hello, everyone. I am so excited to be here again. It's another evening. I don't have a really cool opening yet, but I am here. I'm going to go ahead and get us started here on Instagram. So, I am just so excited to be doing this, and obviously I did not do this properly on Instagram. So let's go ahead and start this all over again. So for those of you who are tuning in, this is our evening show, Travel the World as a Speaker, and tonight we're going to be talking about the best books on negotiating, because when it comes to speaking, it literally is all about negotiating. And I'm going to go ahead and try to get myself together here over on the gram. And I don't know if it's me or you, or they've added all these different things here on Instagram that is so confusing. All right, I think I got it going here. All right, so it's checking the connection. Hello, everyone on Instagram. Thank you so very much. We have just started. We have just started here on iFind You Close with our evening show, Travel the World as a Speaker. I am your host, Phylecia Jones. Yes. And it's so funny because I'm on a delay. I'm your host, Phylecia Jones. And tonight we're going to talk about the best books on negotiating, because when it comes to wanting to travel the world as a speaker, you have to be really good at negotiating. Seriously, you have to be good at negotiating. This was something I ran into right when I first started speaking was, oh, I got to start asking for stuff. And yes, you have to start asking for stuff. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comment box. Of course, you may not know this, but I'm going to tell you, but our home for my friends here on IG, our home is actually here on YouTube. So all you have to do is go to ifindyouclose.com/YouTube, and you will be able to see all of the pretty graphics, because I'm going to show some travel photos, and we have some other graphics on some books. So you don't get the full experience, and you get my side profile. So I'm working on it. But then Instagram has the most amazing filters. And for those of you who are here on YouTube, thank you so very much. If you got questions about anything, all you have to do is put them down in a comment box on either channel. So if you don't know what Travel the World as a Speaker is, it is a daily live show here on YouTube, and our secondary home is on Instagram. It is presented by iFind You Close, and iFind You Close is a company that delivers speaking opportunities to you. So myself and my team, we go out and we do all the research and across the globe, and especially here in the United States, and we find speaking opportunities so that you can leverage your speaking skills so that you can market your business, and you can leverage your skills so that you can travel the world. Now, the reason why I started this show is because I wanted to get back to the roots of why I started speaking. One, it was to grow my business. I needed a hack to market my business. And the second, I realized I could actually travel. So that's why we've started the show. And I want to give you as many tips as possible when it comes to being able to speak and travel the world at the same time. And before we even get started, I have to let you know that I have partnered with Travel Noir. Yay! I love Travel Noir because I love travel. And on Tuesday, January 26th, I will be doing a very special webinar with them called How to Travel the World as a Speaker. I know I'm consistent. If anything, I'm consistent. We're going to be talking about how to travel the world as a speaker on January 26th with Travel Noir. I will give you all the dates because I think it's going to be 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, which will be 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Oh my gosh, so many time zones. So I'll be sure to make sure that you have all the information so that you can come and join us. And for those of you who are joining us on Instagram, thank you so very much. Thank you. Waltzing Toward Joy. I love that. Thank you for joining us. Our home is here on YouTube, and it's ifindyouclose.com/YouTube. So you can always watch us here later, and especially if you want to see all the graphics. So tonight, like I said, we're going to talk about the best books on negotiating, because if you want to get paid to speak, if you want to travel to speak, even if you want to get on stage, you need to know how to negotiate. That's it. You need to learn how to negotiate. And VP Allen, did I do that right? Let me know. How you doing over on Instagram? All right. So before we even get started, so for my Instagram folks, I'm going to have to leave you for just a second because I got to show some travel photos. Because the reason we have this evening show is how to travel the world is travel the world as a speaker. So I got to talk travel. And one of the reasons why I absolutely love speaking is because I can negotiate some really cool travel things. And I'm not one of those people that wanted to be on stage to have the big lights and things. I've done that too as well. But I really have a passion for getting on the road and going and seeing some amazing things. And being able to travel, I have gone to, oh my gosh, some great experiences, great people. I've always picked up another client. I've always picked up another gig, and it has just absolutely worked for me. And gosh, I don't know if I have a favorite place, but here over on YouTube, I'm actually going to share with you. So I actually have in my spare time, one of the things that I do when I'm out traveling is I do photography. Now, I am not a professional photographer. I am still learning, but it has been so much fun. So if you come over here to YouTube, you can definitely check out some of my photos. I have another account on Instagram somewhere, and that's just me. It's under Phylecia Jones. But oh my gosh, over the last few months, I'm an RV owner. And, it took me a while because, last year was challenging in so many ways. But it was being able to get back out, get on the road in the RV, go to the desert. Oh my gosh, I had to reconnect with my joy of why I'm doing my business and why I absolutely need to get on the road to just energize myself. So what we did. So for those of you who are watching over here on YouTube, you're seeing some of my photos. We got out on a road in the RV and we went to the desert. So we went to the desert. We went down into Monument Valley, into Utah. If you haven't been, you need to go. And we went all the way down to the border, basically to Oregon Pipe National. It's not a national park, but we went down. Is it a national park or national monument? But Oregon Pipe, we went to the Grand Canyon, went to all these places, Petrified Forest. And what was really interesting about being able to do a lot of that was I was able to take my speaking with me. Even while I was on the road, I actually have 4 speaking engagements. And of course, it takes a little bit of time. And that's what I'm here for, is to help you realize that you can actually take your speaking with you. Now, a couple of years ago, this wasn't really a thing that people thought about. Of course, we could sit in a hotel room and do all of these engagements. But because of the world being virtual, I'm telling you, this is what you need to jump on. You need to jump on this ability and this opportunity right now to upgrade everything so that you can, pack up, take your camera with you, and still be able to give an experience. And we got to talk about that in a few days, because 2021 is all about the experience when it comes to speaking. To be honest, I don't think it's all about your content. It's about the experience you are giving when you're on camera. So I just want to encourage you, if you really want to travel, all we have to do is get very creative. With my photos that I have here, oh my gosh, I saw the ocean before the end of the year. I told my husband that I was afraid that I wasn't gonna be able to see the ocean before the end of the year. So we made it all the way to San Diego, California in the RV just for a couple of days, came back home. We were safe, we wore a mask, we social distanced, we stayed to ourselves. Trust me. I ain't trying to get sick. But also being able to see the aspen trees when we were driving through Colorado, because I live in Colorado, and it's so funny. Every year I'm always gone, so I don't see fall here. So this was the first time in, oh gosh, it'll be 9 years this year that I've been able to see fall, because we're always on the road. So we just did the road differently. And of course, this is one of my favorite photos here. And that is the Petrified Forest. So I'm upping my skills when it comes to photography, but that's what I do in between all of the time when it comes to, enjoying the travel side of being able to speak. San Diego, your home. I actually lived in San Diego for 11 and a half years. I worked for the Navy as a computer scientist, and I worked right in Point Loma. So right on the other side of Fort Rosecrans, for above the submarine base. So yeah, and my husband still works there. I mean, it's virtually now, but he works for Sony PlayStation there. And, after we moved here, I would only go back with him a couple of times, and every year go to the holiday party, but they didn't have it this year. So, well, we were still able to go see the ocean. So that was nice. San Diego reminds you of what warm weather is like. It was a little jarring being able to come back home and it's like, oh, it's cold here. And then I ask him all the time, like, why did we move here? Like, I'm still trying to figure that out. So on this little quick road trip, we also went to the Grand Canyon, and I was still able to deliver. Now, if you're ever going to find yourself wanting to take advantage of speaking from the road, we're going to have to talk about your equipment. So come back. Oh gosh, in a few days. I don't know. We're going to be doing this every day, but if you got questions about anything, all you got to do is ask. Like, seriously, just ask me anything. All right, I'm going to go switch my background here. So it's just me. Hey, everybody on YouTube. All right, so let's talk about the best books on negotiating. And the reason why I want to talk about the best books on negotiating, now I have to say I'm cheating a little bit because this is not completely my list. I'm just like everybody else. I just go on the internet and just like the best books in negotiating. But funny enough, quite a few of the books I've already read. But the reason why I want to talk about the best books on negotiating, because when it comes to speaking, when it comes to being able to leverage speaking, you got to be able to negotiate. And I'm one of those, you can negotiate whatever it is that you want. First, we got to figure out what it is that you want. And then you have to be able to ask for it. And I know a lot of us, we're in this, like, I don't want to be too salesy. I don't want to like offend anybody. I don't even know why I have these in here. I don't want to offend anybody or anything like that. Or I don't want to feel slimy. Here's the thing. You better learn how to ask for stuff. Leave all that stuff in 2020 and 2019. 2021 is don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Will you get a no? Probably. Hey, Annette, how you doing? It's been a while. We need to connect. Will you get a no? Probably. Will you get a yes? Probably. But you don't know unless you don't ask. So if you're always afraid of asking, I highly recommend that once or twice a year, you sit down and buckle down and, oh gosh, work on your skills when it comes to sales and negotiating. Because when it comes to speaking, all you're doing, you have to excuse me, my voice is doing some things. When it comes to speaking, all it is selling yourself and then being able to negotiate what it is, whatever it is that you want. And what I learned, I took a sales class a couple of years ago, and I realized even though I had been in business for a while, I knew nothing about selling anything. I mean, it was an 8-hour set. Oh, trust me, it was an 8-hour sales training. And I mean, I was still wanting more, but I left there realizing I didn't know a damn thing about selling anything. and I've always heard these things, these lines that we always hear, like, what's your number one thing you do in business? Selling. And of course, we all agree, yay. And then we go back home like, no, I don't want to sell. And when I took that sales class, it was just the reminder. It was the wake up call. Like, hey, Phylecia, you got to get serious about this. Like, you really have to get serious about being able to sell and negotiate. And from that moment on, I told myself I was actually going to invest in some type of sales course, class, or book at least twice a year. Because, and it really didn't matter who it was from. I didn't want to go to the same person all the time. I wanted to switch it up because even though they may say the same thing all the time, I always get reminders of like, I need to be better at that. Oh, I need to remember that. These are just refreshers just to remind me that if I want to be successful at running this business, or I want to be successful at being a speaker, I need to be able to sell, and I need to sell myself some water. So hold please. My goal is to drink the minimum half gallon a day up to a gallon. My little bladder can't handle a whole gallon, but try not to be dehydrated. And make sure you drink enough water too. But when I was in these sales classes, what I realized was that I needed to really stay in touch with my ability to sell. Now, my background, I'm not a salesperson. I am a computer scientist. I'm a systems engineer. I worked for the Navy as a computer scientist. My background is all kinds of math. There ain't no selling in math classes. I did not have to sell anything when I was taking calculus. So that was a huge wake-up call when I first started a business. And then when I got into speaking, and, you know, the first couple of years, like everybody, you say, yes, 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 I'll do anything and everything. But then you realize, wait a minute, I need to get a little bit more out of this. And that's when I realized I needed to like really up my game on sales. So if you can't afford a class, if you cannot do anything live, which most of us can't do right now, um, we got to be able to get a book. We got to be able to invest in something to remind us. And books are great. You'd be surprised. Most authors, they put everything in the book because they know we're not going to read all the words. For some reason, we don't like words. So we're going to talk about that. Hey, Annette, yes, I have started live streaming again. So Annette knew me when I was live streaming a couple of years ago. And yeah, I'm going to be live streaming every day for iFind You Close. And this is our show. It's called Travel the World as a Speaker. So I get to mix my love of travel with giving you some tips on how you can become a speaker and leverage that so that you can travel or grow your business or get whatever you want. And that's why we're talking about negotiating tonight. So I got a website up here. And it is the 7 best books. Like I said, I'm cheating. It's on Inc.com. Jeffrey James, and he has the 7 best books on how to negotiate. And so for those of you here on YouTube and our home, for those of you, if you ever want to catch all of the super cool graphics, you got to come over to our home, ifindyouclose.com/YouTube. Same thing. You can ask your questions here, but or just stay here on Instagram. You don't have to leave. Just stay with me. It's cozy. We ain't got nowhere to go. All right, so let's talk about these books. Now, this list, I actually like this list, blah, blah, blah. And I'm gonna preface a lot of this. I've read these books. I don't remember everything in them. I'm not going to even sit up here and pretend to know like I'm the expert on all books, because what I do with these books, I read them and I read them over and over again. And I don't necessarily read them to like consume all of the information right then and there, because I know I will always come back. If I'm getting into a certain season in my business, or if I'm going hard with trying to get a few speaking engagements, that's when I will go back to these books and just like get the refresher. Like, okay, half the time they're just confidence boosters of like, okay, this is what I got to do when it comes to negotiating. I got to remember this. I got to set myself up for all the things that makes sense. So I'm actually want to start with this book, and it's called Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion. Now, this is actually on my Kindle list, and I'll actually make up my Kindle list and I'll share it with you. It's a really interesting book on how to position yourself prior to a sales negotiating. So it's kind of getting in that right mindset, getting in the right space. And I will even ask or add to, it helps you to understand why you're going in to a negotiation in the first place. So I always tell people who are part of iFind You Close that before you even think about going and getting a speaking gig or trying to negotiate for travel when you want to speak, is you need to know what you're asking for. Because what happens is that we will set ourselves up. Oh my gosh, we will get just excited because somebody said yes, or we'll get excited because let's be honest. We just get excited because somebody told us yes. And it might be the right audience. It might be the right thing. But what happens when things fall apart is, first, we didn't ask the right questions. And then 2, we didn't prepare ourselves before negotiating to ask for what we wanted. Let me know if that makes sense. Because I've walked into these situations like, man, I should have asked for more, or I should have asked for this. And it's not that you can't go back, but the other thing is you got to be in a position to remember, you got to show up as the professional. So sometimes you will miss your shot. You'll be able to shoot your shot, but sometimes you'll miss it all in one little swoop. So that's why you got to be in position. So I will highly recommend this book, Influence. It's by Robert Cialdini, Cialdini. And for those of you who are on Instagram and for those of you who are on YouTube, give me about an hour when I'm done, and I'll make sure all of this information is inside of the description if you want to go check it out as well. Or I'll get you back to my Amazon list and you can take a look at the books that are on my Kindle. But you want to make sure you have this book and it's just called Influence. Because this is how we're going to influence people to buy stuff from us, and, showing up confident, making sure we understand what it is that we want and we're not being backed down. Yeah, so definitely a reminder, Annette, to go read that book. I actually have it. I'm trying to look. There's another one on here that this is one I actually want to read, and it's called Never Split the Difference. It's called is negotiating as if your life depended on it. And if I'm correct, this was somebody who was like a former, like those people that, oh gosh, interrogator, if I'm right. I think it's from a former interrogator, if I'm correct. And this person, I'm reading their review of it, said the book is largely a reaction to and against the conventional wisdom in getting to yes. Rather than assuming that people understand their own interests and act according to them, the writers approach the negotiation process as a phenomenon that's only understood as a set of essentially irrational emotional responses. That's a lot to say, meaning I think what they're trying to say is when you are negotiating, you kind of have to put yourself in your spot and the other person's spot at the same time. And all you're doing is emotionally reacting to each other. I know I've had to learn a lot about negotiating, and then sometimes you just have to not be scared to go and ask for what you want either. So I would recommend that one. And there's another book. This is actually on my list. This is The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business. Now, the book is, it's very, now I have to warn you, most of these books are dry. They are dry, very dry, like desert dry. So that's why you won't always remember. That's why you just need to be refreshed by them. But The Power of Habit is a very interesting one. It's just kind of explaining how we market things, how we present things to people, and how they will respond to them. And it goes through like a series of ads. And this is The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business by Charles Duhigg, Duhigg. And it was a very interesting book. And like I said, it's really dry, but it's kind of interesting because he goes through all of the different big brands and how they set things up so that we will respond to them. And it's not much different in the world of speaking. And what I've been harping on lately is because we can't get out and speak live and negotiate with people in front of us. Everything we do at this point, we have to elicit some type of response. It's up your website, your words on your website, your social presence, your LinkedIn, your Instagram. All of it matters based on who you're trying to get in from. And to be honest, what you're trying to negotiate from them. There's a difference of me having a website and I have puppies and kittens on it, and then I'm saying I want to negotiate for $10,000 versus me with a picture of me on stage in front of an arena. So you got to be able to put somewhere, you got to be able to influence. And that's why I say you got to know how to negotiate, because negotiating really does come down to just having just straight up confidence. And interesting enough, I don't see a lot of books by women. So if you have any recommendations for books by women, I would love them, because it's definitely a lot of men who are very aggressive when it comes to negotiating. It's good to read those books, even if they are not your cup of tea, because you'll always get something. The other one I read was The 10X Factor by Grant Cardone. He's a little aggressive, but you can take away some things as to how he goes after. And that's what you're really paying attention to these books. How some of these folks go after negotiating, how they position themselves before they even talk, how they come into the room, they come into the conversation with so much confidence. Because what happens with us sometimes is we will get into, oh my gosh, will they like me? Should I ask for this? I don't know. We get into all this stuff, and then we've kind of set ourselves up in a really bad position. And a little bit comes down to knowing your worth as well. It comes down to what? For me, for Phylecia, I will go and speak if it's an amazing travel destination. I will go and speak if it's my right audience. I will go and speak if there's a particular person in the room that I want to meet. But then there's some times where it's just like, you want me to put on Spanx? Like, it's going to cost you some money for me to put the Spanx on and to go out and get on an airplane and fly. And that's where you kind of have to have like, nope, like I'm good. I'm good with not speaking at everything or being everywhere. So you gotta have to get yourself in that position. Annette is saying that's a great point in negotiating confidence. Oh, negotiating is all about confidence. I mean, geez Louise. It's all about confidence, because I try to tell people, when it comes to, especially if you're trying to leverage speaking to travel or to get paid or whatever you want, just because you didn't get paid or you didn't get your travel comp doesn't mean somebody else didn't, because it first comes down to not being scared to ask. It is amazing how we are just so scared to ask for what we want. The worst thing, they'll just say no. For the last, not the last 4 years, but for 4 years, I was a speaker coordinator, and I booked speakers for 2 organizations. Not once, except for one time, did anybody ever ask us to pay them. And it's not so much that I would have refused to pay anyone. I mean, one, we didn't have a budget, but no one ever asked. So it never put me into the position to go ask the others who are running the organization to say, hey, what can we do? And the one person that did ask, we actually were granted, I think the world changed quite a bit, and we were actually going to pay her. I mean, that's what we were going to do, but nobody ever asked before, which is fascinating to me. And I have been doing that for 4 years, and no one has ever asked to be paid. So that's the first thing, is that you got to ask people. I get these phone calls all the time. How do I travel? How do I get paid? I've been speaking for 5 years and I've done 300 events for free. How do I make money off of it? Like, one, did you ask? No. Well, start with that. Just see, let's roll with that for a little bit. You got to be able to ask. So that's why I love these books, so that you can just put them on your reading list when you're bored and you're sitting down. Annette is saying she's going to, especially going to the UK. Yes. And what Annette is referring to is that because I did travel overseas to go speak, I've had to negotiate, like, all right, I know you love me and everything, but how much do you love me? Like, do you love me enough to get on an airplane? So you have to negotiate. You may not be able to negotiate for pay, but you can negotiate for your travel expenses, your hotel expenses, an extra day in a hotel. You got to be able to ask for what you want and let them decide what they're willing to do. And this is the other thing. Before you say yes to any speaking engagement for anything, ask questions first. Ask qualifying questions. How many people will be there? How do you see me fitting into your program? How long do you want me to speak? Do you want me in person? Do you want me virtual? Do I need to put Spanx on? Can I wear my house shoes? You don't have to ask that. But you want to start asking these questions like, can I sell my book? Can I not sell my book? You know, do you want me there all day? Do you not want me there all day? And then the last question is, do you have a budget? Do you have a budget? Now, of course, when I put down, do you have a budget, and they come back and say no, now I have positioned myself because I've asked the questions, because usually the response always starts back with, oh my gosh, you're amazing. And yes, Annette, you're absolutely right. It always starts back, you're so amazing. We want you to come perform. We want you to dance. We want you to come and speak. We want you to do all of this stuff. And so you say, oh my gosh, that's great. I have a few questions first. And so you set up all your questions. Then if they come back like, well, we really don't have a budget. And it's like, well, you just told me how amazing I was, and you want me to be at your event for 6 hours, and you want me to speak for 2 and give you all of this content. And you just told me that you're not going to let me sell. So what is it that we can do so we can make this work out for the both of us? Because I love your group and I love speaking to them. But, you know, I actually have a family, I have other business, and I have other clients that are willing to pay me. So let's make this happen. So you got to be able to set yourself up first and knowing where your drawing lines are and what you're willing to negotiate. So I'm going to give you a couple more books. I haven't read all of these books. This is from Fast Company. These are 6 books to help you improve your negotiation skills. So I'm going to put those on a list as well. The Confidence Code. This is the Science and Art of Self-Assurance, What Women Should Know. And this is by Katty Kay and Claire Shipman. So go check that one out. Perfecting Your Pitch. I feel like I've read this one. I have so many books on my Kindle. Perfecting Your Pitch: How to Succeed in Business and Life by Finding Words That Work. This is by Ronald Shapiro. So go check that one out. The Global Negotiator: Making, Managing, and Mending Deals Around the World in the 21st Century by Jeswal Salakus. That's a fun name. Salakus. Negotiating at Work: Persuasion Equation, The Subtle Science of Getting Your Way. I think I've read that one too. I'm actually going to go to my Kindle list. So if you are a Kindle book owner or virtual book, what do they call those? E-reader. If you are a Kindle owner and you have paid for the Kindle Unlimited service, what I want you to do is just to type in negotiating and filter by free books. I want you to read all the free negotiating books because none of them are bad. They may not be your cup of tea, but none of them are bad. So on my list, I have Influence: The Psychology of Persuasion. This is one I actually just pick up every now and then. I don't read them all straight through, but I will pick around with the chapters and go like, all right, let's go into this. The Psychology of Selling by Brian Tracy. I've read that one. So, and also To Sell is Human by Daniel Pink. So you make sure you go and read these books as well. Get Clients Now. I think that was just a little freebie. Book Yourself Solid. I actually like this book, Michael Port. For those of you who are in the consulting world, this is a really good book. Now, this is the one book I actually do remember because I read it almost every year. This is Book Yourself Solid. And what he explains in this book is how to kind of have that red velvet service when it comes to getting access to you, because what happens as consultants or coaches or whatever we are, we just let everybody have access to us. And this is where he creates a red velvet policy to make it not appear as if you're like wanted. It's not wanted or like in demand. You want to make it appear like you're in demand, especially for speakers. That's the other negotiating thing you have to kind of ease in, is that you want to appear as if you're in demand. When you go back and forth, like, oh my gosh, I understand that you don't have a budget at this exact moment. I do have 2 other clients that I have to get back to. So maybe we can push this out, or maybe you have a sponsor that can buy my book, that can buy my courses, or something like that. So we got to be able to, when they go left, we got to be able to go right. When they go up, we got to be able to go down. When they go vertical, we go horizontal. I'm just making stuff up, but you got to kind of know where you can keep going before we get to an absolute, I don't think this is going to work for me. Now, I know a lot of people can get into like the diva mode, like, pay me, I'm not going to show up. Don't do that. Don't do that. You got to find a common ground so that it works for everybody, especially if you do want to speak for this group. Especially if if this is going to be in Monaco. Yes, we're going to be negotiating all kinds of things. Like, can you pay for breakfast? Can you pay for the hotel? Can you pay for my plane ticket? Can we do this? You gotta have like your next level of like, all right, you won't pay me, but can you buy this? Can we get a sponsor for this? Okay. And the other thing about speaking, sometimes you can get a sponsor from left field that will pay for you to go somewhere. All you got to do is market their business. So, you could do that too. So you got to get smart. Annette is asking, what is one of the lessons you've learned from negotiating? Common thing you've encountered in the process? To be honest, Annette, I think the biggest thing I have learned from negotiating is the fact that I need to negotiate, if that makes sense. When I first started speaking, I think I had the severe FOMO, if I don't speak, I'm going to miss out. If I don't speak, I won't get exposure. If I don't speak, I won't become known. And the more I started doing a lot of the talks, it was fun. I absolutely adored what I did and even what I do. But I also had to kind of start drawing some lines of like, okay, I'm expelling a lot of energy here. Like, we got to meet halfway. So I think that was the biggest thing that I did learn, was that I do have the ability, or maybe I gave myself permission to negotiate. That was the biggest thing. I gave myself permission to negotiate. Okay, you want me here for an hour, you don't have a budget? Absolutely fine. Annette, I see that you're friends with Oprah. If you love what I'm doing, can you make an introduction for me? Boom, that's how we do it. Or the fact that I realized I had to start getting more out of it, because my brain was, what I was taught was, you just do this to convert people into your programs. And I wasn't converting very well, but I did want to build up a reputation as a speaker. So I realized I had to start really thinking about all of the things that I needed to make it appear that I was a high in demand speaker. You know, my calendar was booked, all of those things. And I had to start negotiating for having somebody to help me to get testimonials. Can I get those photos? Can I get the video? Can I bring in my own photographer? Can I bring in 5 other people who just happen to run other events and invite them as friends? Can I get an introduction? Can you pay for an extra night at the hotel? Can you pay me just a little bit more so that I can do this? Can you buy the course? You know, it's all of those things. And what I had to learn was that I was bringing a lot of value eventually. And, you know, especially when people started calling me, was I was bringing so much value, and I had to realize that I needed to own my value and own my time at the same time. So I think that's the biggest lesson that I learned, is that I had to give myself permission to negotiate and permission to start asking for the things that I needed. And it worked out very well. It really did work out. I mean, it worked out better than what I thought. And just asking, like seriously, straight up asking. When the bigger contracts come in, or when people find me. Now, of course, when people find me and ask me to speak, oh, yes, I'm in a better position because you came to me. I'm not coming to you. And I think that's even better, where you do have those questions. I guess here's another lesson I've learned, is not to say yes instantly. Never say yes instantly. Never, 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 never. Now, if you are brand new, if you are absolutely brand new, say yes to everything. And say yes fast. But if you've been doing this a little while and you're a little bit seasoned like me, before you say yes, just ask a few questions first. How many people are going to be in the room? How long do you want me there? Because I've walked into situations like, oh, you don't want me to speak the whole time, but you want me to be here for 8 hours, fireside chatting people, meaning you want me to coach the whole time. So you got to know what situations you're going into and how to make them work, and how to say, you know what, I'm not going to do that, but I will do this. And so that's what I've done. And it's been pretty cool. I've enjoyed it. Absolutely have enjoyed learning all of these things when it comes to speaking. And it's been cool being able to use these skills so that I can leverage this so that I can go and travel. Hey, Sunterfly, how you doing? So for those of you who are coming in a little bit later, this is Travel the World as a Speaker, presented to you by iFind You Clothes. I'm your host, Phylecia Jones. I'm actually the owner of iFind You Clothes as well. So I get to talk to you about 2 things I love, speaking and being able to leverage speaking so that you can travel. As you can tell, I'm a big travel person. And so tonight we're talking about the best books on negotiating and why you need to learn how to negotiate. Annette is saying both of those are great lessons: permission and asking pertinent questions. I can't speak today. Bleh. Any of you ever have that day where it's just like blah 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 blah? It's been like that all day. Or maybe I've been doing videos all day. Maybe that's the problem, because I have to have video face. All right, it's getting close to 5:30 or 5:38 here Mountain Time. Yay. So yeah, if you got any questions about speaking, we're going to be doing this show every day until we all get a vaccine. We're going to be doing this show every day, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. I have to go through all of these time zones, and it's absolutely nuts because my VA is here in Colorado. My researcher is in Utah, and we're on the same time zone. But I have somebody who books me for other events in the Pacific time zone, and my marketing team is in the UK. Yeah, I have to do a lot of counting. I need to go do some yoga. Yeah, I actually do need to go. I'm exercising right after I do this. I've been exercising a lot in it. Woo. Helps the stress. All right. So for those of you, yeah, I'll be doing this live every day here on Instagram, but our main hub is going to be YouTube. iFindYouClothes.com/YouTube. You can come join us over here. If you want to see all the pretty pictures and everything, you got to come to YouTube. Otherwise, you can just see my pretty face. I'm working on bangs, y'all. I'm working on bangs for 2021. Yeah, my goals have gotten like really low, just bangs. But hopefully I'm here to help you. I'll learn a few things. So just want to let you know that, oh my gosh, I got a couple of things to let you know. So I've been partnering with Travel Noir, and it is a travel media company. I absolutely love them and all of their photos. You can go to Travel Noir over on Instagram. I will be coming in. I have a contract with them. I do content creation, but I will be doing a webinar on January 26th, how to travel the world as a speaker, to go along with the course that I have, how to travel the world as a speaker. Yep. See, consistent. I'm just so consistent. So if you want to check that out, I will be sure to give you all of the details, or you can go sign up for Travel Noir's newsletter, and then in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, you'll see a big old picture of me coming in your email. Second, I have joined Wonderful. I'm a content creator expert for She's Wonderful. It is a women's travel community for those who like to travel and those who want to build their brand as an influencer in travel. I will be speaking with them. I will be presenting content on, I got to go get my calendar, next Tuesday, 12 o'clock Eastern. Hold on, y'all. I'll tell you what I'm doing. But I will be talking about, I'm not going to even lie. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm of an age, I just don't remember things anymore. Okay, what are we doing over here? Let's see. All right. Yeah, I don't even remember. Oh, here we are. Oh, for Wonderful on January 12th. That's next Tuesday, I think. How to market yourself as a public speaker in 2021. So it's an entire hour. We'll all be on camera, so you can be able to come in and chat with me. So as soon as I'm done, I'll put the link down below if you want to come and join us inside of Wonderful. It's a members only community. It's actually really, really cool if you want to be a travel influencer. Yeah, so we'll be doing that. And I will be joining Travel Noir on January 26th. That is a Tuesday evening. So we'll be talking about how to travel the world as a speaker. And I'm going to be joining one more travel community, Color Me World. So we're in the process of figuring out what I will be doing there. But I'm really excited about all of these. So I'm just happy to get back to my travel roots. And Annette is saying, you're the one of the most consistent people I know. Bless you for saying that. Because I had to take a break. Bless you. So great to see you as well, Annette. I will send you a message because we should chat. I need to see how you're doing. I'm checking in on all my friends to see how they're doing. So I actually recommend you do that too. It's been It's been very. So check in on your friends, check in on yourself, make sure you're staying healthy. I'm actually, for those here on YouTube, I'm going to sign off on Instagram first. So for those of you on Instagram, thank you so very much. You know, I appreciate you. All of you who showed up, Annette, who else is here? VP Allen, Sunter Fly. Oh gosh, we got one more person. All the way at the top. Waltzing toward joy. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me this evening. I hope you learned a few things. And of course, if you have any questions, just let me know. If I'm correct, this will go to IGTV. Technology has changed in like 2 years. I feel like an old lady, but thank you so very much. I will be here tomorrow. And what we're going to talk about, that's a really good question. Let me tell you what we're going to talk about. Oh, how to market yourself as a speaker tomorrow. What is our topic? I have to have one day I'll show you how I keep up with everything, which I don't keep up with everything. I have like 5 people telling me what to do and where to be because I can't keep up. Oh, I love my life right now. So I'm very organized on my boards, but I can't find my boards. All right, tomorrow. What are we talking about tomorrow? Tomorrow is the 8th. And we're going to talk about, how to market yourself as a speaker. See, I knew that. All right. So be here tomorrow, 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. Thank you so very much. Have an amazing evening. Stay safe, stay healthy. Hug yourself. And if you hug somebody else, just wipe down first. All right. Take care of yourself. I appreciate you. Good night. All right. For those of you here on Instagram, thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Of course, if you have any questions, all you have to do is put them in the comment box. I will be around. Please share this with a friend who needs to know how to negotiate. And we're just going to have a little bit more fun. So tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to market yourself as a speaker. This is going to be so crucial. If you want to get out there and travel, if you want to leverage travel to grow your business or to travel the world, you got to know how to market yourself. And just because you say you know how to talk is not good enough. So I appreciate you for being here. And of course, if you are interested in getting more speaking opportunities delivered to you, all you got to do is go check out iFindYouClose.com. We're actually doing free speaker assessments. So just go to the website. It's all there right in your face. If you want to get a free assessment on whether or not you can attract high-paid speaking gigs, or if you want speaking gigs just delivered to your inbox, just go ahead and do that. You know I appreciate you. You know I love having you here. So thank you so very much for hanging out with me and just letting me do my thing. You have an amazing night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.